Ship management and ship organization. The crew of a merchant ship can be conveniently formed into 4 departments. Deck department. 2. Engine room department. 3. Catering department. 4. Radio department in large passenger ships. The shipmaster. The shipmaster is the owner's personal representative and bears ultimate responsibility for the safety of the ship and cargo and the welfare of all on board. He keeps the owners promptly and fully informed of all matters that affect their interests. He has the power to act as a lawyer and a doctor, and may arrest members of or the passengers if they constitute a nuisance during the voyage. He ensures that regulations dealing with safety and accident prevention on board are complied with. The general authority of a master includes all acts ordinarily necessary for carrying out the voyage and for fulfilling any contract of carriage on which a ship may be engaged. He is the agent of the ship owner for any acts usually within the authority of a master, unless the party with whom he is purporting to contract has notice of any restriction on his authority. He has a duty to complete the voyage with minimum delay and the minimum of expenses. Extraordinary events may give the master a much wider authority as agent for his owner, but only where circumstances make it necessary in the interest of the owner to take action outside the ordinary carrying out of the voyage. It is impossible to communicate in time with the owner. Where these 2 conditions are fulfilled, his authority is extended where necessary to include authority. Steps such as ordering repairs, raising money for ship's use, transshipment sales, salvage agreements, jettison, and deviation. Under very rare circumstances, he is empowered to pledge the vessel and likewise her cargo so that funds may be secured to permit the voyage to proceed. In days past, he was responsible for transacting the business of the ship in ports abroad. His responsibility in this respect has narrowed, as modern communications now enable the ship owner to assume more direct supervision of the ship and her business abroad. Officers and crew deck department. Chief officer. The deck department is under the chief officer. He is the senior executive officer, responsible for discipline on board, efficient running of the vessel, and general maintenance and upkeep of the vessel. In addition, he is also the chief cargo officer. He keeps 0400, 0800 HRS and 1600, 2000 HRS navigational watches. The chief officer is assisted by several officers, petty officers, and ratings. Second officer. He keeps the 0000, 0400 HRS and 1200, 1600 HRS navigational watch and is responsible for the upkeep of the navigational equipment. He also has overall responsibility for the navigation of the ship. He takes care of the hospital and dispensary on board, as well as looks after sick persons under the supervision of the master. The third officer stands at his post on the ship's bridge, diligently keeping the 0800 hours to 1200 hours and 2000 hours to 0000 hours navigational watch. He is responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of life-saving appliances and firefighting equipment. Assisting the master, he carefully records entries in the bell book and deck logbook during navigation. As the morning sun casts a golden hue over the sea, the third officer adjusts the dials on the radar screen, ensuring that every detail of the ship's journey is accurately monitored. Meanwhile, he leads the crew in a safety drill, demonstrating the importance of readiness and teamwork in maintaining safety aboard the vessel. In the ship's safety compartment, the third officer diligently examines a life raft, verifying its readiness under the careful observation of the master. His hands move with precision as he inspects the emergency flares and safety gear, ensuring that every piece of equipment is in perfect working order. In the control room, the third officer engages the crew in a discussion pointing at the navigational charts spread across the table to strategize their course. As the sun begins to set, casting vibrant colors across the sky, he stands vigilant on the bridge, monitoring the horizon. Cadets. The cadets have no specific job on board. During their period of sea service, they understudy the ship's officers and ratings, and acquire both experience and sea time required for their certificate of competency examinations. Boatswain. The boatswain is the petty officer responsible to the chief officer for general repairs and maintenance work on board, and the organization of the deck crew or crew members. Able seaman. The able seaman is a handyman responsible to the chief officer and the boatswain for general deck work activities and maintenance work. As an able seaman, he takes the sounding of ballast tanks, freshwater tanks, etc. for the chief officer and operates the windlass during mooring and anchoring operations. He is also known as the helmsman, responsible for steering the vessel during voyage. Engine room department. Chief engineer. The chief engineer is responsible to the master for the proper, efficient maintenance and the running of the engines and engine room department. Second engineer. He is practically in charge of the engine room and carries out the day-to-day running and maintenance work in the engine room. Third engineer. The third engineer and the fourth engineer and the remaining engineers each are normally responsible for one specific duty or the other, depending on the type of ship and company involved. For example, in some companies, the third engineer is responsible for the upkeep of the emergency generator, while the fourth engineer takes care of the pumps. ETO, electrician officer. The ETO is the electrician on board which serves general purpose both in the engine room and deck department regarding the electrical area, which includes repairs and maintenance. He is responsible to the chief officer and the second engineer respectively. The donkey man. The donkey man is the foreman of the engine room ratings, also known as an oiler or a wiper. He is responsible for the day-to-day cleanliness of the engine room and other jobs according to the directives of the second engineer. Radio department. The number of certified radio officers to be carried on board depends on the type and size of the ship. The most senior radio officer takes charge of the department, and he may be assisted by one or more junior officers. The radio officers are in charge of the radio room, its equipment, and carry out minor maintenance and repairs on the ship's radars and echo sounder. The radio officers are now being gradually replaced by deck officers with the advent of the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, GMDSS. Catering department. The chief steward or catering officer is usually in charge of this department. Apart from general catering services, he is equally responsible for all bursary work on board. He is assisted by cooks, an assistant steward, and a laundryman. Manning of vessels. Under the Nigerian Merchant Shipping Act, MSA, any person or persons sending a ship to sea is required to ensure that she is seaworthy in respect of manning, bearing in mind the nature of the ship's service. The factors that should be taken into account when determining the crew size for a particular ship are based on IMO Resolution 481 as follows. The capability of the vessel to maintain a safe bridge watch at sea, which includes general surveillance of the vessel. The capability to manage all safety functions of the vessel at sea when not underway. The capability to operate and maintain effectively all watertight closing arrangements, including the ability to mount an effective damage control party. The capability to operate and, when practicable, maintain effectively all fire equipment and life-saving appliances provided, including the ability to muster and disembark passengers and non-essential personnel. The capability to moor the vessel effectively and safely is crucial. A manning scale or certificate issued by the Maritime Administration specifies the minimum number of officers, cooks and seamen needed under various circumstances. This number varies according to each department, the type and size of the vessel, and the trade in which the ship is engaged. It also depends on the type of technology employed on board. As the crew discusses the mooring plan, they ensure that each member is aware of their responsibilities. The harbor is alive with activity, where tugboats maneuver effortlessly, assisting in the safe docking of various vessels. Training is essential, as crew members practice mooring techniques using simulation models. An experienced captain leads a session demonstrating the use of specialized mooring equipment, ensuring the next generation of mariners is well prepared for the challenges ahead. Attention to detail is paramount, as a crew member ties ropes with precision, readying the ship for a secure landing. As the ship's bow makes contact with the dock, crew members swiftly deploy fenders, ensuring safety and preventing potential damage. As night falls, the moored vessel shines brightly, and crew members conduct final checks, ensuring everything is secure for the evening. An informative infographic displays essential safety protocols in mooring operations, emphasizing the importance of proper procedures and equipment, safety of the men on board. The officer of the watch must ensure that the men working aloft in the ship or outside, or divers at work on the bottom of the ship, are adequately protected from any danger. The OOW must not allow radio, telegraphy to be made during the man is in a dangerous position aloft. They should be called down before a signal is made. Men working over the side should have lifelines made fast in such a way that the men themselves can tend them, or they can be tended from inboard. In either case, a man inboard should be detailed to keep an eye on those working over the side. If divers are working on the ship's bottom, boats, ships or vessels passing by must go at slow speed, and the officer of the watch must hoist the international signal calling for this action. The officer of the watch carefully assesses the safety measures for individuals moving in and out of the ship, verifying that there is adequate lighting, a secure gangway, and no obstructions in the way, ensuring a safe passage for all. The deck logbook is an essential tool for documenting the journey and any special incidents. It's crucial for the officer of the watch to accurately note every detail, adhering to the captain's directives and signing off the log at the end of their shift. As the officer of the watch inspects the gangway, he ensures that everything is secure and well lit, prioritizing the safety of everyone on board. With meticulous attention, he records the captain's orders in the log, ready to commit his signature, reinforcing accountability and clarity in the ship's operations. Passengers are greeted by crew members at the gangway, where they are assisted to ensure a smooth and safe boarding experience. Meanwhile, the officer of the watch examines the logbook, revisiting previous entries to confirm adherence to the captain's orders and maintain the highest standards of maritime safety. The ship is alive with activity as passengers make their way on and off, all under the vigilant supervision of the crew, ensuring everyone's safety. The officer of the watch remains alert, positioned by the communication device, prepared to promptly inform the captain of any safety issues that may arise during the busy boarding process. Engagement of crew. The master of every ship except a ship of less than 80 tons exclusively employed in trading within certain specified limits shall enter into an agreement with every seaman whom he carried to sea from any port. This contract is expressed in a document called Article of Agreement. The Article of Agreement contains various particulars concerning a diverse number of items relating to the voyage. These include the duration as far as possible of the voyage or engagement. 2. The number of crew and capacity in which each member serves. 3. The time at which each seaman is to be on board or to begin work. 4. The capacity in which each seaman is to serve. 5. The amount of wages that each seaman is to receive. 6. The scale of provision to be furnished. 7. Any regulations as to conduct on board and as to fines short allowance of provision or other lawful punishment for misconduct, which have been approved by the Ministry of Transport as regulations to be adopted and which the parties agree to adopt. 8. Amount of advance, if any, of the seaman's wage. The amount any seaman allots from his wages to his wife, father, mother, or children, along with specifying the next of kin, forms a crucial part of his employment agreement. As the sun rises over the harbor, the lives of seamen unfold, each journey marked not just by adventure, but by the vital connections they maintain with their families back home. On the deck of his ship, a seaman gazes across the endless ocean, holding a letter that carries the voices of his loved ones, reminding him of the importance of every dollar he sends home. Back at home, the mother reads her husband's letter aloud to their children, each word weaving a thread of connection that keeps the family's spirit alive, despite the miles between them. As night falls, the family comes together to discuss how to wisely manage the seaman's allotment, turning each dollar into a building block for their dreams and daily needs. In a moment filled with warmth, the seaman connects with his wife through a video call, sharing laughter and stories, reminding them both that love transcends any ocean. At the bustling dock, the moment arrives when the seaman returns home, where open arms and joyful faces celebrate the reunion that love and sacrifices have sustained. I know you enjoy watching this video. Subscribe and follow for more amazing information and knowledge about ship tech.